Well, we cast for a lot of movies all over the world. The leads and the supporting leads are typically picked by the networks or the studios, and then our background is typically done by local background casting. And we look for all types of people, different ages, different races, different sexes, everything we need for the background. We like diversity. We've shot in Iceland, we've shot in Finland, now in Buffalo, a lot in Connecticut. So
A lot in common, a lot of snow, a lot of cold. Okay,
a lot of snow, a lot of cold, especially in Finland and in Iceland. Funny enough, Iceland is the coldest place we've been to. It's like -14. Shooting a romantic scene is always fun. But in Finland, there's like 8 feet of snow, but it's like the Bahamas compared to Iceland. It's just regular cold.
Sounds like Buffalo.
Buffalo?
8 feet of snow.
You know what's funny is when we got here, my team went to Iceland and they're like, wow, Buffalo is like Iceland. Like the wind.
Okay.
Really?
It's the wind.
Right.
So in Iceland, they call it the bitchy wind. You also have that bitchy wind.
Oh yeah.
do.
we-
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right in
It's
the
like
face.
piercing.
Slaps
It's
you right in
nasty.
the
So
face.
there's not too much of a difference.
Yeah.
Except you don't look like Mars or not Tatooine, whatever the Hoth planet
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
The one college that I went to here, Buffalo State, which a lot of movies have shot there, but the architecture was built for Arizona to give airflow in to cool down the students and the faculty. They took that same plans and put it in Buffalo.
Wow.
So whenever we go to, and you teach there too, I was going to say, when you walk through, you're getting slammed with wind and cold, and it's like, this was a terrible idea.
Oh my God.
Might say it's a little drafty.
So, Andrew, thank you for coming on this podcast.
No, thank you for having me.
This is Andrew Gernhard. He is an incredible producer and owner of Synthetic Cinemas International.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Synthetic
Okay.
Cinema International.
Okay, got it. And we have him on today. On our podcast is our first official guest on Podcasting Buffalo.
Great.
So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
It is
Thank
an
you.
honor.
you get a lot of
it is.
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
But yeah, so thank you for coming on. And we tried to be the voice for a lot of Buffalonians as just a company in self to trying to get Buffalo in the movies.
Yep.
And it seems like we are getting more and more of being a very coveted place to come film, including yourself. So, I mean, we want to learn more about you because you came to our backyard and we want to make sure that you keep coming back to our backyard.
Yep.
So Andrew, how did you get started? Why are you here? Why did you come to Buffalo?
Well, I came to Buffalo. We're based out of Connecticut, which Connecticut also has a great tax incentive. It's a 30%, and almost everything counts as long as it's done in state. But I do know we're going through a little bit of turmoil with the credit being reduced 5%, which is a big hit. And also another big hit is the fact that we don't have local crew, which is great for local union crew. That costs a lot of money because we're bringing people in. In Buffalo, you have the union crew. You don't have a ton, but you have a good amount, and that'll grow. And then you have the 30% plus the 10% kicker, which is huge because everybody's constricting now. All the studios networks, they want more for less. So it's a matter of doing something more for less. And Connecticut's great. I still live there. I would love to make movies there. I'd still love to make movies there. But coming here, I want to say is probably the best production experience so far, knock on wood, I've had in the U.S.
Wow.
You've
Excellent.
got great
Wow.
people here,
That's great to hear.
wonderful locations, wonderful just regular non-Christmas movie, non-movie people, and the incentives great, and the architecture here is amazing. Unbelievably amazing. I feel like you could shoot many different eras.
Yeah.
I feel like Buffalo itself could be Chicago, Boston, Manhattan, almost
Anywhere
anything.
USA, that's what we
Anywhere.
say. Yeah.
Even you go outside, it could be Minnesota, Wisconsin. I mean, there's a lot of choices here. And I'm excited to I do a lot of TV movies, but what is TV? Everything's a mixture now. Is it
Yeah.
TV, streaming?
TV's
What
the
is
place
it?
to be.
It's like
I mean,
cross.
it's movies.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of movies, for all the different studios I've worked. My main client is Hallmark, but I've done Netflix and Paramount and Disney and Lifetime. So I would like to bring more stuff here. I know we have some other stuff that we're, trying to get here, but so far it's been amazing. And the food scene here is important.
the food
It's
is great.
important to
The
me.
food will keep you.
The food is important, and it's great restaurants. I've met a lot of the owners here, and they love film, which is really, really cool. And everything's like embraced, which is really nice.
Well, the feeling is mutual with how well this production has gone so far. We visited set the other day, and then at our mini wrap party there too. Like my first question to every single one in the department is like, well, "How's it going for you? How's it going?" And everybody said, "This is one of the best experiences
Oh, that's good to
that
hear.
I've had."
For the benefit of the listeners, just give a little intro on the film.
So the film is Newport Christmas. It is currently about to wrap up in Buffalo. We were fortunately able to be hired to come do the extras casting for you, and it's like you said, our crew is very film family. We've kind of all grown up together and just kind of learned everything through the different films that have came in, or gone to school together, or just kind of evolved together. So sometimes we're worried about when films come in and they're looking for crew and how they run productions, because there are lows and there are highs.
I know.
And I do got to say, like, everyone that I've talked to,
Yeah, there's
is
been a lot of
ecstatic.
praise.
Oh, that's
About
good
the
to hear.
praise.
Because, movies are about having fun. I know they're high stress, and there's time limits. But, I've been on a lot of movie sets myself, and a lot of them are not fun. They're fighting the budget, they're fighting time, they're fighting egos is the biggest thing. We try not to have egos on our set because it is a job, it's fun. And most of what I do is Christmas movies. I don't see why you have to get angry or crazy at Christmas movies. But it's all about, we want to come back here and we want to use crew again. So we don't want to burn any bridges. I mean, that's what I was taught a long time ago by a lot of my mentors is, don't burn bridges because you never know what happens down the future. And I'm always about being nice. Even things, if somebody does something terrible with me, there's no revenge. There's no, I just move on and just be as nice and kind to somebody as you can. And just because they have their own life, you never know what they're going through. But I'm all about keeping it for a, family, having fun with the crew. I hate long hours, even though there are long hours. We try and keep the hours as low as possible for movies.
No, that is amazing.
What's, just because, again, you're here as our first guest, I also want to, have our listeners kind of learn a little bit about you as well. What was your path, getting into the industry? How did you get into, producing? What was your path like?
Oh, well, I started off, I didn't go to a film school, funny enough. I went to Southern Connecticut State University. I did their television department with a minor in graphic design. And my first job was actually doing educational videos with another company called Mazzarella Productions out of Bristol. And, I can go potty videos, history. And a friend of mine, actually me and two other guys, made a parody of Jaws called Trees, about a great white pine tree. And it got released on VHS. Who knows what VHS is?
Of course. Yeah, man.
And then what happened is that movie did pretty well. And then we did a sequel called Trees 2, The Root of All Evil. That did not go over well. It was a huge loss. I kind of got out of it and went into graphic design. And then DVDs came out, and I started getting calls from Universal Home Video and Warner Home Video saying, "Hey, are you making more of these monster movies?" And I was like, yeah, I could probably make them. And so I got back into making monster movies, and that's where synthetic cinema came from. I partnered up with Rich Lucas and Bonnie Farley Lucas, who was actually the dean of my college, and she was a teacher there. And they invested in the movies in the company, and we started making, Sasquatch versus police station and killer Amish people and werewolves out to breed and all these crazy B movies. And Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were all picking these up. And so we kind of lived in that low budget monster movie world.
It's like streaming before streaming.
Yeah, it was just DVDs kind of thing. And then that kind of died off, and we moved into thrillers for like Lifetime. And then we did a Christmas movie. Then all of a sudden, now we're doing Christmas movies for Paramount, Netflix, Hallmark. And we specialize, I know in Hallmark, we do a lot of their outside the box ones, their bigger tentpole movies, because we love making movies. I love the process. So I definitely want to do something that's not a cookie cutter, something that is, wow, look what these guys did on this budget. I want to make $100 look like $1,000, and I want to do something fun that people enjoy. And, we don't always hit hits, but a lot of ours are pretty good hits for, the networks and the studios that people enjoy because they are different, but they still have that feel-good message, what people want.
Well, speaking about fun, big tentpole type movies, I mean, press release just dropped about, trying to make a Buffalo Bills feature.
which
in
we've been
Buffalo.
getting a million calls about. I think that it's a big topic, right? So this press release came out everywhere, Variety, just every major outlet that you can think of, and about Hallmark collaborating with the Buffalo Bills, so that's something that's super exciting. Any information?
Well, I can't say much about it. Obviously, I know Hallmark very well, and I know they're doing a Buffalo Bills movie because, the holiday touchdown, the Chiefs movie was, I can't say Chiefs here, probably.
No,
'cause you guys
sorry.
know. The Chiefs
It's all right.
the Chiefs movie was really big for them. But yeah, they are planning a Buffalo Bills movie, holiday touchdown, a Bills love story, which they mentioned, and they'll probably be shooting it sometime this summer in Buffalo, and I know it's going to be huge because shooting in Buffalo, I'm seeing the fans, and everybody loves the Bills. I mean, I don't think there's anything bigger than the Bills here.
No,
I mean,
there's
it
not.
is. It is huge, and it's I'm not a sports fan, funny enough, but I just seeing this fandom is making me become a fan of the Bills because the passion is just there. And I did watch that 30 on 30.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the Four Falls.
It's an amazing story, and I had no idea that. I hope I'm right about this. That Ace Ventura's kick is kind of based on
Yep.
that kick.
Yep.
Laces out.
We still live the pain a little bit.
Oh, I know.
We're still reliving it.
all
But,
new
we
pain.
we have a super quarterback right
Yeah.
now that just won the MVP. So everyone in this area is excited.
Yeah,
about this.
yeah. I think it'll bring a lot
I-
of excitement here.
I like to think about how we as Buffalonians, we have a resiliency that I think is really true to what the animal, the buffalo is,
Yeah.
We can take these harsh winters, we can take, bad climate, we can take the getting kicked and we get back up.
And get him back up
Yeah,
again, right?
so we get
But
back up.
but I've been watching some of the making of that new stadium on like YouTube and stuff. You're gonna be a little cushier there. They got like no more shoveling the. I watched the whole thing about no more shoveling the ground, but it's not covered, which I think is smart because it's got to stay
Keeps
open.
the environment, right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I did. It's such a cool endeavor making that thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're called Bills Mafia for a reason, right? and that's the best part is like we have actually cast a lot of commercials for the Bills and for like Visa commercials,
Amazon.
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
we've done some really big major brand commercials with the Buffalo Bills. And to be honest, it's kind of like a niche thing that we've been doing. Like, we know a lot of the major players that that participate in the stadium. And there's a lot of characters,
Yeah.
those celebrities, local celebrities.
Yeah, local celebrities that kind of play different characters. So it's definitely a hot ticket.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of media business must be based on the Bills here, because I've seen they're involved with all the banks. I mean, even I went into the bank and they wanted to give me a Bills debit card.
You should have got it.
So I would.
I saw the Chiefs film. Was it at Christmas or Thanksgiving?
It was
'Cause
a Christmas holiday touchdown, a Chiefs love story,
Okay.
not about Kelsey and.
No. It was about the hat.
Yeah,
being
it was
missing.
about the lucky hat.
I watched it with my mother on Christmas, and I wondered how many people in Buffalo didn't watch it because it was a Chiefs film. But
Never heard of it.
but there was so many background people just swagged out in all Chiefs. I imagine that's going to happen in Buffalo, right? There's going to be a bunch of people.
I mean, I would assume so. 'Cause
Bills gear in every
it's-
shot.
They want to, I'm sure they want to make it for the fans.
Yeah.
But maybe it's about the Bills going after the refs from that last game. It could be
Hilarious.
about
Oh, man.
that.
Well, they just corrected the rule. Did you see
I saw that. Yes.
Now it's all video rule. No, we're really excited and hoping that this city is going to turn out for that because what's not more exciting than a Bills movie? When's the last time there was a Bills movie?
Oh, man.
Second string, I think was
I don't
made
even
back in like
I don't even know.
early
Bills
2000s?
movie?
There was
Remember that?
There was a recent local Bills movie.
oh yeah, you're
Uh,
right.
and I should know the
Oh,
name.
yeah, that's right.
Is there a documentary or something about the Bills?
There's
guys?
one
Well, there you
in
go.
production.
Documentaries coming out. There's
Yeah.
some fan stuff.
Addison
all that's
Henry
good.
Buffalo's
But nothing
Docu-6.
national. I don't think
No,
anything
not
on a
national.
national
Well, there's
level, maybe since like
Buffalo
OJ.
66.
Yeah, so we did cover
Yes.
Buffalo 66.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, I feel like Hallmark is such a juggernaut in the holiday. You don't get better than Hallmark for holiday movies, and I think that them mixed with the Bills and any football team, I think it's going to be huge. But you guys have such a great fan base. I know it's going to be insane.
Did you know that? You remember the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
I was supposed to be
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
I
supposed to be
Oh, was it?
based
They
around the
almost
Buffalo
came
Bills.
Went
here,
to the
yeah.
went to the Cleveland. It went to Cleveland instead.
No, went to the
Yeah.
Browns instead. So
Interesting.
that might have been the last thing.
Right.
So I mean, we're Buffalo. We love the movies. We love football. This is
And
About to
the movie The Natural that was filmed here way back when, I know had a ton of crowd scenes, and a lot of people came out for that. And it was
Oh yeah, well that was
you know,
Robert Redford.
it was a big
Yeah.
deal. A lot of families have a lot of history of
Yeah.
stories of being an extra.
Yeah, I had no idea that was shot here. And then Tim Clark from the
Mhm.
film office was
Mhm.
showing me around, and he said, "Oh, the Natural's here and here." And so I ended up watching a trailer and some of the scenes just to see
Mhm.
some of the locations. And I actually watched Canadian Bacon.
Oh, great
you?
movie!
Yes.
Great
I'm like, oh my
movie.
god, I did, but I just
Great
did it because I
movie.
thought it was timely. But I was like, oh my god, there's all these Buffalo things. I just think it's
Such a great
hilarious that it's John Candy, who's the ultimate Canadian, is the,
Yeah.
the American. who
Great
beats Canada. It's
cast
kinda
in
funny.
that.
When casting a Bills movie for background people, this is more of a wardrobe question, maybe, but does the fact that everyone already owns a ton of Bills gear
Well,
help, or
I think that
would they all
comes
get
down
supplied?
to like if they're legally able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think if Hallmark sits there and says, "Hey, we're teaming with the Bills," they probably got an okay to at least.
Oh, the Chiefs
they
movie
did for
was
the
very
Chiefs.
much.
And- yeah, I was gonna
It was
say.
very
I would
much
assume
that.
so.
Yeah.
which helps a lot.
Yeah.
Which
It
is
you
let me
know.
just say, which is a huge thing because normally you can't, unless
No.
you
Yeah.
have some type of NFL licensing or some type of agreement with the team, So that's huge. The fact that like now they have that permission and it's going to be all about the Bills. It's not a cheap thing to do.
Yeah.
Chiefs film is like every shot. Like they're walking down the street, everyone's wearing. It's like game
It's
day.
a 2-hour commercial for
But
the Chiefs.
game day in Buffalo is like that.
Yeah.
People are just wearing their
true.
Bills clothes. It's wardrobe.
Well, I think that's what Hallmark is targeting that. Like we did a Biltmore Christmas, and everybody loves the Biltmore, North Carolina. And I think it's smart for Hallmark to be teaming up with these, I guess, big IPs. Let's
Yes.
call it like what people know, because I know the Hallmark audience loves to travel. So that's why I do so many travel movies, because they're sitting at home and like, oh, like we did an Iceland movie. It was like Indiana Jones at Christmas in Iceland. It brought people for a full tour of Iceland. And also my Finland one was a whole, it was a dog race across Finland, which at Santa's from Lapland, Finland. So it was like bringing people to those areas.
Well, the Hallmark, all the movies that they did in Connecticut, didn't it create like a Christmas trail or something?
We have a
like-
Christmas trail, which goes to, I believe, like I've shot many movies in Connecticut, but I think 22, 24 of them were Christmas movies. And it goes to all the, like Mystic. We did Mystic Christmas, which was in Connecticut. And most of the movies I shoot in Connecticut are actually Connecticut based, but some of them we faked. Like we did Holiday in Harlem in Hartford. It just made it look like, where it was in Harlem with the brownstones and stuff. But even we did Ghost of Christmas Always, which took place in Hartford, Connecticut. But she goes to like, that character goes to like an ethereal plane where she talks to other ghosts that haunt people at Christmas. And that's actually the state capitol. We actually shot
wow.
in the entire state. The governor came out and was like watching the shoot. We're in this crazy Renaissance, weird mix architecture that the director liked. So we utilized everything, and they do tours. And I know it got like, I think 4 billion impressions when they announced
That's
this
crazy.
tour.
That's crazy.
And people are, TikToking, oh, I'm at this location, because the Hallmark audience are typically, horror movie audience are typically kids that are pirating the movies, watching it for free. The Hallmark audience it's everybody, but a lot of it is older women, 35 to 60 that have money, and they travel and they go to these places, which is, Hallmark has a great audience and a loyal audience that really love their product, love their stars, and love what they do.
It's like destination.
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. Because you have done so many different, spin-offs of like Christmas,
Yep.
Christmas films. What do you think is like the key ingredients of like making a good holiday film?
Well, I think the key ingredients is making people remember something in themselves within these movies. Because I think Christmas is all about nostalgia and connection. And I think it's those little, like they call it Hallmark moments of like, with your grandmother falling in love for the first time, the snow hitting them. I think it's all these little moments that that people look for in these movies, is to connect with that and like, oh, I did that, or I want to do this, or, because I feel like there is a lot of negativity in the world today for various reasons. And, these Hallmark movies, they bring people to a place where they can just enjoy the movie. They know there's not going to be too much violence. They kind of know where it's going. Our movies are a little bit trickier. You don't know where it's going, but it still has a happy ending because they know it's not going to be like a horror movie where all of a sudden Jason pops out and kills all the characters.
Right.
It's something that I think people look for, is that like chicken soup for the soul kind of thing. It's just a matter of telling the stories differently, but having the same core.
This is so exciting to hear about upcoming films in Buffalo. And I'm sure that the Bills film is going to have a ton of background extras and everyone's going to be super excited about that. Let's hear from a local background extra in Buffalo.
Yeah, we're going to try to do something a little bit different. I actually reached out to one of the background actors that we've hired locally, and I kind of putting her on the spot, but this is Emily Augustiniak, and we wanted to bring in a background extra who had the experience of going on. Hi, Emily. and kind of see firsthand. This is your first time. First of all, hi. I don't know if we've met in person yet. We've probably heard all of our voices, but I'm Kyle. You have Harry to the left of me. Peter's over there. And then this is Andrew, who you've been listening to for a little bit here. But we wanted to kind of reach out because this is the first time you worked with Casting Buffalo.
Yes. Yeah. First time. Not my first time acting in Buffalo. I did a lot of theater growing up, but yeah, first time being an extra on a film.
So Emily, let's hear a little bit about you and how did you hear about what we were doing and how you tried to get involved?
Yeah, well, like Andrew said, Hallmark has a very loyal following, and two of those loyal followers are my grandmother and my aunt, who I have watched lots of Hallmark movies through them, including Biltmore Christmas, like 7 times. So when they heard about this, they were very excited and kept ringing my phone about putting my name down for it. So I did. And then lo and behold, here I was. And when I told my aunt, she actually, I think, clung to the ceiling. She was so excited. Like almost kept it from her until Christmas as like a Christmas present, but I couldn't keep it from her because she would be too excited.
No, that's incredible, Emily. Like, we're so happy to have you involved and get you on. And you said that you've had background experiences and acting experience before. How did your experience on the newest film compare to what you've kind of gone through?
Yeah, I mean, I've never done anything like this. I did an indie film my senior year of college, and I played a horse's tail. So like I was like flicking a horse tail in a barn, and I was a PA on that set. And then I was an intern at the Colbert Show down in New York, so I did some like extra work for them on the streets of New York. But this one was a lot of fun because I was with the people in my community. So, Buffalo is a very tight-knit community, city of good neighbors, and it was really awesome to talk to everybody and hear their stories about how they ended up there. I definitely there was not really many people in my age group, but that's okay because I have an old soul, so I like talking to people beyond my demographic. So it was fun to talk to everybody, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Let me ask you, Emily, as an aspiring actress, did you think that this experience was beneficial, even though you were a background extra? Did you feel like, as an aspiring actress overall, that being a background extra was helpful to your career and into the experience?
Yeah, I think anytime that you're on a film set is helpful to giving you experience. I've been on film sets, like I said, in the background, like the behind the scenes roles, and I think that's really helpful to learning how the mechanics work. I've now done background work here, so I think that that's helpful too, seeing how that works as well. I'd like to be an actress and I think writer as well, so going around and doing all of the areas and seeing how all the gears turn is always really helpful, and I think it's good for anybody and their experience.
Well, Emily, too, you trying to be a writer, I feel like being around so many different personalities and just
Yeah.
being able to
Definitely.
put that into your brain or write it
Give
down.
you material.
Yeah, it's brand new material.
No, 1000%. I think that I mean, I'm specifically a comedy writer and a comedian, so anytime I get to interact with people, it's always lends to finding some interesting experiences and interesting personalities. So I definitely got a couple of those from this set, not in a bad way, only in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, Emily has this awesome social media following. She's fantastic. She has these hilarious reels that are out there, and was one of the reasons that kind of like on top of you submitting, but we were just like, oh my god, like this person has something special as well, to try to get her on set and involved. So thank you, Emily, for coming on. Please plug anything that you have out there for our audience.
Okay, sure. My social media handles on both TikTok, Instagram, YouTube are August, so that's EM_August, the month of August. My last name's too long in Polish to put on a social media handle. So yeah, you can find me anywhere online. Yeah, it was great. I actually got recognized for one of my sketches on set, which was crazy.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you soon, and hopefully
Thanks
we'll get
so
you another
much.
one, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Take care
Thanks,
now.
Em.
Bye.
you.
I know.
For all of your insurance needs, make sure you contact Craig Willoughby over at Willoughby Insurance, 716-885-8100. Make sure you ask for Craig and tell him Casting Buffalo sent you for special rates. My boy Willoughby will when nobody will.
Look, if you work in film, you know how brutal the hours can be. Long days, unpredictable schedules. There's barely enough time to eat healthy for yourself, let alone work out before or after set. Staying in shape almost feels impossible. That's exactly why Ascend Fitness remote coaching exists. Whether you're on set or just juggling a busy life, this isn't a generic program. It's 100% customized to you, your schedule, your goals, your equipment, and even how you feel day to day. You'll get a fully personalized plan, expert coaching, and real accountability so you always know exactly what to do, no matter how crazy life gets. And right now, they're offering an exclusive deal. Sign up for 1 month and get the second month free, but only for the first 10 people. Spots will go fast. Go to trainascend.com and book your free coaching call before they're gone.
Looking for an unforgettable dining experience in Buffalo? Head to Daniela Restaurant, where every bite feels like home. Whether you're craving classic Italian favorites or exploring something new, Daniela's menu has something for everyone, from handcrafted pastas made with love and the finest ingredients. And it's not just about the food. Daniela's warm, welcoming atmosphere is perfect for a date night, family dinner, or special celebration. Plus, with a carefully curated wine list, the perfect pairing is just a sip away. So why wait? Head over to Daniela today. Come for the food. Stay for the experience.
Do you love horror movies? Here on Getting Scarried Away, we sit down to talk about what we love about the genre, shout out fellow horror creators, and spill buckets of useless horror knowledge for your next trivia night. Join me, Ricky Needham, and my co-host, Rhiannon Needham, as we dive headfirst into your favorite horror movies. Subscribe today anywhere you get your podcasts.
With your company, you're based out of Connecticut. Roughly how many movies are you making and producing a year?
Well, that's interesting. Typically, we do 3 to 5 movies a year, which is a lot. But I know the year after, is it after COVID, like 2020, I was involved in over 21 movies in 1 year.
Whoa.
Like there was a time in Connecticut, that's when there was that big boom of movies.
Oh, yeah. It was like
I was going from, it was Hallmark, Indie, Disney. Like driving around Connecticut going to, and I wasn't a producer on all of them. Sometimes I was just post-production, sometimes producer, sometimes I was production services, but I was like, it was like a huge boom. And I worked every day for almost a year and a half.
Was that boom related to tax credits, or was that?
It was related to COVID. Mm-hmm. People needed streaming content. They're spending a ton of content, and the tax credits and locations. So that's what really had that boom. But now, things are constricting, and I think people are realizing what they want to do. And unfortunately, a lot of work's going overseas. We do go overseas, but typically for the setting, not to try and save money, but we go for setting. But it's expensive to make things in America, and that's why a lot of these productions are going overseas. But it is productions down, I think overall like 22% overseas, but in America it's almost like I think 40-50% less stuff. But you guys, I think, you know, I'm going to have more stuff here. I think there's a lot of stuff coming up here. I think New Jersey and New York are really going to be like the new Hollywood. I mean, even Hollywood is kind of like dying.
Yeah,
I just read
they
something
haven't
about
had
Disney
much going
movies.
on. Yeah.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's April Fool's, but I read something about Disney leaving a Fox lot. You know, it's a lot of things. And we got a lot of things against us. I mean, you got AI coming out, expenses, narrowing down, you know, figuring out what the audience is. But I think it's just a transition, you know, and then I think in a year we'll probably figure out, okay, this is what really needs to be made. You know, I think AI is going to be a big thing in the future, but you know, is it going to replace? I think it will replace a lot of movies, but not all of them.
There's a really interesting thing about AI I've been a part of recently through the 40-Hour Film Project internationally, because we've got a lot of indie filmmakers making films, and that's the big question of like, how is AI going to affect this? So they do some AI filmmaking challenges. And what interestingly, this was thrown out as one of the stats from one of the city producers. He was like, yeah, the people that enter the competition are really like 45-year-old dudes. Like it's not a young audience that's gravitating towards making AI content in that arena, at least. And I find a little bit of a rejection of AI amongst younger people. So I wonder how it will all fall into place when it all happens. I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
Well, AI is very interesting to me. What I do want to point out, and I know this may offend people, but AI, what happens, the problem is it hurts the people that have talent. I mean, when I know AI was coming out, the professionals I work with were like, oh God, what is this? And the people who really don't have a lot of talent were like, yes, this is great. And just because you can make a great movie poster with AI does not mean you're an artist. You know, I hate to say that to people. It doesn't mean that you're the artist, because you might have typed it in, you might be good at programs, but you're not Michelangelo. You know, it's a talent in one way, but not a true artistic talent, because it takes a lot of teamwork and talent to make. If it's not talent, it's years of work you put into it, experience. And I do know, you know, AI is going to get so realistic that I know the studios are going to, when they can make Iron Man in a computer, they're going to do it because it's just cheaper. You're going down from 10,000 workers to 1,000. You know, I don't know, and you know, some stuff I see blows my mind, but we're not there yet. But I do foresee myself probably in 10 years going to colleges being like, oh yeah, you know, I was on set for 10, 12, 14 hours. And the kids are going to be like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow. We could
now
just
we shoot
type
for an
that.
hour.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like Avid. It's like, oh, they have a new update once a year. I mean, AI is learning
as we go.
daily. I mean, if you look at the progression, it's unbelievable. And we have I'm not anti-AI because I do think it's a good tool. We use AI in some audio cleanup and audio. We don't replace actors. That's one thing we don't do because I don't believe in replacing actors' voices. But we do it for cleanup. Like it can figure out like, oh, there's a hum, take it out.
Well, I was going to say, I'm like using it as a tool.
Tool is the right way to use it.
Is the right way to
Yeah, even visual effects. We do use it a lot of visual effects to help our artists figure out how to make things better. And
take out a wire, take out a lamp.
It makes, because we have to make movies fast, so it helps us make things faster and better. Like I know our visual effects last year were better because of AI, and I know just going forward it'll be a stronger tool. It's like a new version of Adobe or something like that.
It's like it's a new paintbrush as opposed to a new painting.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I feel like that's going to take over. But what I'm more worried about is not. I mean, we just think about our little world of entertainment. I mean, AI could be a big problem in the future for everything. Yeah. It's going to be a miracle and a problem. Like all these fake news things I see. Like if you just look on Facebook, I'm a big headline guy. Yeah. It's like all of a sudden, I mean, you could have a press release and, you know, a live feed that looks like a real newscast declaring war, and it's AI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the scary part.
Until Skynet takes over.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm curious as well to kind of hear your thoughts just on the state of movie making from big studios. And what I mean by that is that, you know, you mentioned after COVID, and I think what we saw a decline of like movie theaters, you know, closing. Yeah. We also saw, you know, we're seeing an increase in streaming, you know, as well. And one of the things that you mentioned multiple times is just about cost.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you think that bigger studios are like adapting to now like to movie making that they may not have the theater there to push it, that you have all these other streaming services.
Yeah.
Are they changing their formats?
Well, I think, I can't talk for the studios, but my opinion, again,
Yeah.
is my opinion. I mean, movies were great. I mean, they were just rolling in money in the 80s and 90s. I mean, because you like E.T. came out in the theaters twice. Money, 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 money.
Right.
Then it came to like major broadcast, money, money. Then it came to VHS and this and now it's made a ton of money. Now, if you made E.T. now, it'd go right to Disney Plus. That's it. So, I mean, they have lost a lot of revenue. So I think what's happening is I think what my personal opinion is, like, Hallmark has it right. They got to find their niche audience, which you can find it. You find horror people, you sell to horror people. You find Christmas people, you sell to Christmas people. And you're going to have big broad companies that make blockbusters like Netflix and Disney, but and the IPs. I think a lot of it's going to be IP, but they're dealing with a lot of things. They're dealing with dwindling audience, dwindling ways for the audience to see it. AI, like my 6-year-old has never watched a long form movie. She knows who all the princesses are, but she has no real interest. But she does want to see the Minecraft movie, funny enough. And I will bring her, but I don't know if she's going to sit through it. It's like the attention span of the new audience
quick.
is not, and I don't feel like people like sitcoms or movies anymore. It's almost like it's hard to watch them. And I think that's something that's, again, is it generational? Is it just a phase we're going through? But I think the studio's going to figure out, and I do think they are going to streamline. I think a lot of things are going to use AI for like effects, but I think they're going to streamline the crews and the productions and they're going overseas because they are looking for the best deals. I mean, that's why they go to Ireland or they go to Canada. They're looking for the best deals. And I think the states are compensating for that, which I think is smart because when movies come in, I always told this to Connecticut and it's true in Buffalo, is whether you're a $500,000 movie or a $20 million, that's money being shot.
Yeah.
That wouldn't go here.
Mhm.
Hotels, caterers,
Economic boom.
Hardware stores, all extra money from out of state coming into state. And I think it's worth it. And because, to get the tax credit, everybody's paying taxes, all that's going into it. So there's definitely a big value to doing, having these tax credits and having movies here. But I do think they'll streamline though. I think over the next year, I think things are going to settle, my guess. And then we'll figure out what they really want to make. But I've always been my mindset has always been, make something bigger for less as the best you can, because that's really where it always has been. But there is an counter to that. People expect quality now.
Right.
So
Yep.
It used to be like you could make a Christmas movie years ago and be like, oh yeah, throw this up, it looked like a college production. Because if they do that, they'll go to Netflix and see a better movie. They'll go to ABC you got to have quality as well as lower budget.
And I think, it's simple as like, if you have a really good story.
Story's big too.
Story's huge, right? Originality can break through.
Yeah.
You saw it with like Barbenheimer.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it came through, is you had an original film, based out of a book, autobiographical from Nolan doing it. And then you had an IP right next to each other.
Yep.
And they both went off.
Yep.
And yes, you have an auteur director like running the gun, but like it showed you how it, right when you thought that like original content was dead,
Yep.
it was alive again. And I think it really comes down to quality of content.
Yeah.
Right.
But then you also got to watch out. A typical thing with studios is that the Barbie thing worked. I expected the Barbie thing to be a kids movie. It's not.
Yeah.
It's an adult movie. What I'm afraid of is now they're going to be like, oh my God, that worked for Barbie. Let's do a Barney movie. That's like, let's do this. And it would have, they kill it. It's like superhero movies come out. Everybody did them. And Marvel's I think has been in a slump for a couple of years. And I think they're going to come out. And DC's never been quite, to me, DC, the shows were too campy. The movies were too dark. But I feel like James Gunn is going to make it just right by making it campy, but also having the darker
You gotta
kind
have
of
that mixture.
stories. So it could work. So I have high hopes for Superman for sure. I think it's just a matter the right story, finding the right actors, and finding the right audience. All has to
Correct.
click.
It's like, well, we've all grown up on comics for years. Now
Yeah.
it's time to like
Yeah.
wear the comic book suits. Let's
and
do
so,
it.
and I know
Like,
people make
there's
fun
a
of these
reason
movies.
it worked for a
Some of the
reason.
stories on these movies are really good.
Yeah.
Like some of these, they're really like solid stories, and some are just terrible. But you take the good with the bad.
It's funny because it almost seems like back in the 60s, 70s, like you can say that IP was always around because you had original scripts, but then you also had a lot of stuff based off of novels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's finally starting to come back around where it's like, oh, we have ideas sitting on a shelf
Yep.
right now.
Well, maybe they couldn't make them there. Now you can make things with such great visual
Exactly.
effects and everything, and you so like something that was impossible to make during the 70s and 80s is now possible. Like an 18-year-old could make it in their
Well, look at
basement.
Dune, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they came back and they remade Dune, but now you have the technology. And, like the original film's great, but it's like now where they can take it.
Yeah, I actually like the sci-fi original one they did, which they did like a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah,
thought
I
that
think it was
pretty good.
Was it a sequel for it? Or
Yeah, it was.
you know,
I know the Children of Dune or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, but they actually remade Dune. And I was like, this is pretty good because David Lynch had his Dune was wacky, but it was classic. I couldn't have. I will say this. I know he just passed, but if he made Empire Strikes Back, it probably would be the movie it is right now.
No, never.
because he has a certain look.
Yeah.
It's like Tim Burton making
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly.
That's why that meeting went
It,
awry.
it would have Johnny Depp in it, and
Yeah.
he'd be the new Luke Skywalker.
Well, you mentioned like this seems like Buffalo might be a hub for a lot more films.
Yep.
And that they're teetering towards New York being a stable environment to be a new Hollywood. With that, we need crew.
Yeah.
And we have union crew, and we need to expand on union crew.
Yep.
And we think amongst us and talking to a lot of people, we need to expand that. Like
Yeah.
it's like getting new jobs here, because if these films come in,
You're not going to have enough people.
you're not
Well,
going to have
either
enough
that,
people.
and what you find is that, and I think it happened to Atlanta, is that people migrate from other places.
Yeah, I think that's
come,
gonna happen as well.
Absolutely, right.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen. I think that as Buffalonians, we also in for our company, because we're one of the industry leaders locally, we have to prepare our people,
Yes.
for that, for the upcoming change, to get them prepared for these films to come in, to keep the jobs local.
And Buffalo Filmworks, where we are, is a great studio. I mean, you could do anything from something small to they have a stage. I think you fit the Titanic in. You could probably fill
Yeah,
water
it's
and
crazy.
sink it.
Yeah.
Titanic too. I mean, they've been great, and they seem like they're very community centered, and they really support the film. I mean, they've been really good. So you have the stages, and personally, I think you have for local crew. I think you have enough to do like 2 TV movies or 1 big movie.
Yes,
But
correct.
then you could bring some people in to supplement the whole thing. But local crew's always good. You start off as a PA and work your way up. I mean, that's true.
So what we do every single year is we do a Casting Buffalo Actors Expo, and we've actually done 2 years in a row, and we do it in the end of August. And the idea is like to try to build the army of a community of extras and actors and talent.
Yep.
And this year we are expanding it a little bit to include, job discovery for crew, because we know the need is going to happen.
Yep.
So, and it's showing us right now. We had 2 films in town. I think we have a vertical in town as well.
Three films.
So 3 features, and the summer's going to just get busier and busier.
Yeah, summer's always
once
a
it gets
busy
warm.
time for everybody.
But a lot of these, smaller films sometimes are that opportunity of like getting to PA, getting to intern, getting to like maybe they need a camera PA. Maybe you can actually grip. Maybe you can get into a condor.
Yep.
And it's your way into a union.
Yeah, I think the best size movies to work on are TV movies because it's not a student film, it's not an indie film, but it's not a major motion picture. You're working with all the full departments, but they're willing to help out. It's more personal.
learn.
They have they can actually talk to you. It's more like, oh, you're just getting coffee kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
more-
learning.
And I think here you can put down roots here. One of the big problems with Connecticut, which I recommended, is every 2 years this tax credit was up for. Oh, is it going to happen? How are you supposed to move your family there or build a studio when 2 years from now the credit's gone?
Yeah.
What do you do? So the fact that you guys have it for 10 years, if not longer, you can build something. And that's why I told Connecticut, I said, look, you got to increase the tax credit a little and just make it a 10-year thing. Yeah. I think Massachusetts is indefinite. I mean, that's what I thought I read, but you guys have until 2036.
36.
Yeah.
Let it sit in stone.
Yeah. People. That's
Let
how you
careers
build. That's
build.
how you build a community.
This is an amazing testament to the momentum of filmmaking in Buffalo. When I was getting started, it didn't seem realistic, and it seems like now people that are getting started have a shot, and they have a place where you said they can get a foothold and they can learn. So that's really incredible. And thank you for your testament to what we've been able to do here. Should we recast a movie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
We
All right,
talked about, again, a lot of these remakes and stuff happen. So what would happen if we recast an updated version of
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, I don't know how you can even update. That's such a great movie. So-
That's the
but
challenge.
they will.
That's
Which-
it.
which
They will.
characters?
But what if we get the chance to be the ones in control and cast the people in the version we want?
Yeah.
So we like having these fun and games, and we thought to include you this time.
That's good.
And usually what we do is, we name a few of the characters, and then we kind of go around the circle and what we would do for that character.
Okay.
So we're putting you on the spot. We wanted to do a Christmas movie since we had you here.
Yep.
So we picked the hardest one that we possibly can pick to remake. So we have we have three to pick, right? We
Well, you do Clark, Griswold,
Obviously, yeah.
Ellen,
Chevy Chase.
the wife,
Yep.
Mhm.
and Cousin Eddie.
I think you
that's
got to
what
do
I think.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
because
are-
that's your
Absolutely.
special
You
opinion,
have to,
guy.
of course.
I think that's your three, and then I don't know if anybody got some ideas for the wacky other people. Maybe we.
I think those are the main
toss
three.
them in
Those are the
there.
big
Yeah.
three.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, so we got Clark Griswold. Anybody have any Clark Griswold?
I
already
you know
my
what?
first two.
Yeah, I was gonna say my first two. So when you think about Chevy Chase, iconic comedian, actor, there's not many people that could even hold a candle to him, right? But if I'm gonna go in today's society, I'm gonna go with Steve Carell.
It's a great pick.
I'm gonna go with
That's a
Steve
good
Carell. I think that he has the ability to be funny. Of course, he can play the dorky dad.
Mhm.
He has a lot of those elements. I'm gonna go with Steve Carell.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I thought about him too because it's in The Office, that deadpan
course.
humor, just ridiculousness.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a good
he's
pick.
very
Yeah,
good
that is a
choice.
good pick.
Harry, do you got one at all?
I do. I was gonna go with a Will Ferrell, and my thinking too was, I think Will Ferrell's actually pretty good when he plays things that aren't always serious. I don't think he gets that opportunity as often, but I think the times when it needs to be played serious, he could do that, but also bring in that sort of like quirky and like, funny dad
Oh yeah, for sure.
vibe.
All right. Andrew, you got any?
I think like a studio, and I've already casted the top three.
Okay, got
'Cause I
it.
know if a studio came to me and says, who do you want this to be a hit? Now I'm not saying that they're going to be, they make a lot of mistakes, but this is what I think a studio would do. Clark would be Ryan Reynolds,
Oh,
Ooh.
Yep.
Elizabeth Banks would be
okay.
the wife,
Okay.
and Walter Goggins.
Wow.
as Eddie.
Interesting.
I think
I
if
like
they went
that.
with
I
that,
like the Walter
think
Goggins.
The Walter Goggins.
I think it
is
might be a
really
complete
good idea.
failure.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel like a
Walter
Ryan
studio.
Reynolds
Goggins.
has done some Christmas stuff too. hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah, that
I
could
like
work.
Steve. I like Steve, but I feel like he's too old now.
Yeah.
That's
Same
true,
thing
too.
with
Yeah,
Farrell.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like because if you look, we always think
Yeah.
Chevy Chase is
Yeah,
older,
that's
but
true.
he was young in that movie.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That
So
is
that's
true.
why I think Ryan and Elizabeth Banks I think is great because she can do comedy and kind of straight at
Yeah.
the same time.
She was
Walter
good.
Goggins I think is a great actor.
Yeah,
Would-
he's so good.
Would Elizabeth Banks direct the film and act in it?
Since she did Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
She should have too.
I think for me, Clark, I've been really into the show Shrinking lately on
Okay.
Apple TV. And I've always loved him, and he has a little bit more of a resurgence. But I'm going really different and going with Jason Segel.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I could see that.
He's a little bit different, a little bit out there, but
I like
his
Jason.
comedy is hilarious, and he doesn't have
Yeah.
to do much. For
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I could see that working.
So
Jordan?
I'm pivoting. I had it written down, and I had another one in my mind before. I'm pivoting, and I'll also lead us into Ellen Griswold. So not Marvel Chris Pratt, and not Parks and Rec Chris Pratt, but a combo somewhere in the middle of those two Chris Pratts.
I was thinking Chris Pratt too. He was my second choice.
and then because of that, Aubrey Plaza as
I
the
could
wife,
see
and
that.
just her
Yeah.
being dry, or her being her being weird. Those two have such good chemistry.
No, I like that too. For Ellen, I went to, Beverly D'Angelo had this
She was
like
great.
crazy,
right,
awesome
I had
personality.
the biggest crush on her growing up.
Exactly,
Oh
but
my
she's
gosh.
extremely pretty
Yeah.
and could play off of
Her funny. She was
Chevy
so funny.
Chase is-
Chevy
She
Chase
took
so,
the cues.
so
Yeah.
well. Because it's like even though we're doing Christmas Vacation, Vacation came before it, European Vacation before it, so you had this like already built relationship
Yep.
of how the characters.
Except for the kids who are different actors.
Exactly.
You don't even look like your pictures anymore. That was one of the jokes.
And for me, I actually am choosing Scarlett Johansson. She doesn't have. I mean, she's good. She's not that much comedy that she's done,
Yeah.
but she can play off of people really well. But
Yeah.
she has those looks,
Yep.
those
She
crushable
does.
looks, and I think her next to Jason Segel could be an interesting pair that we haven't seen before.
My choice for the mother in the family was Tina Fey, because I was thinking Will Ferrell. If I had cast Will Ferrell, I could see the two of them playing off of that
Mhm.
well and sort of achieving what they were going for there. But
I think for the mother, I'm gonna go Reese Witherspoon. You know, just someone that's attractive, but that's also can
She's a good choice.
absolutely can bounce energy. You
Yeah.
know, off of
yeah.
you know, if I'm looking at Steve Carell, I'm gonna go with Reese Witherspoon opposite of him.
Very cool. So then we have Uncle Eddie, and you went with Walter Goggins.
Yeah.
That was a great pick. I think that was
Yeah,
an
that's
inspired
that's
pick.
a really good
Yeah.
pick.
I had Ike Bartholtz for it.
What? I know the name. What is he from?
So Ike has been kind of everywhere, but he's recently on The Studio. He's also he was in Suicide Squad.
Oh, I
He
know what you're
was
talking
in Neighbors.
Mhm.
Let's see if
Which
I can
character
bring him
was
up
he in
for you.
Suicide Squad?
He is just one of like the officers. He's
Okay.
just got a throwaway character. But Ike himself is just he has that Uncle Eddie look to him.
Yeah, it does.
This is Ike.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, really, really good comedic reactions and instincts for it. And again, I always look at like the size too, right?
Yeah.
So like Chevy Chase is like 6'3", 6'4",
he's tall.
and all
He's
that.
really
And
tall.
Randy Quaid was like
Also
bigger
tall.
than him.
Yeah, he's taller.
You know,
Sure.
so I needed someone who, you know, Jason Segel's like 6'4" too, and Ike is around 6'4" too. So at least they could look someone.
It's a height-based cast.
Together. It is, you know. And I did that for Ghostbusters
Yep.
the other week when we did it. It was like I want the joke.
Yeah. So for me, Cousin Eddie, it's interesting you picked Walter for your choice, because I actually picked Danny McBride for my
Ooh,
choice.
that was mine too.
That's a
choice.
great
Yeah,
choice.
I think that's just
Yeah.
bam.
And I think of Eastbound and Down. He
Yeah,
plays
yeah,
an
he's
uncle.
that.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He's got that. You know, he's not cousin, but he's uncle in that, and it's similar vibes.
Yep,
You know what
yep.
I mean?
I feel like he wouldn't have to do much.
No,
He just
he
is.
You
He
just
just
have to
is.
pull up and get out of his car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did you have one, Jordan?
Well, it was Danny McBride.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
You owe me a Coke.
All right.
I think for for cousin Eddie, I'm gonna go with Bill Burr.
Oh, that's good.
That's a
That's
good
good.
one.
Bill Burr
Love
is
Bill
that
Burr.
type of guy. You know, he's done. I just watched his most recent stand up.
Oh, it's so good. His new
And not
stand-up.
only that, he has range, man. But
He
like,
does.
I think he could be. You know, cousin Eddie was kind of disgusting.
He's American.
And I think Bill Burr can get
Yeah,
disgusting.
and
You know what I'm
he
saying?
could play America's cousin.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
Bill Burr,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bill
America's
Burr.
cousin.
Yeah.
That's funny. Is there any other like? So that's the top three. Is there any other like random thoughts we can think for the rest of the cast?
There's the kids,
The Neighbors.
the neighbors,
Neighbors. Oh my god.
The
Todd and
Neighbors were
Margot.
great. Yeah, they were great.
Why is the carpet all wet?
I feel like you could just bring Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Just bring them back.
Bring them back.
Both of them.
Same
Be
character,
hilarious,
just as a
but just
joke.
older.
Yeah,
That's
because she
funny.
still looks great.
She
She
does.
does.
She does.
What
not
about
look
Aunt
like
Bethany
this
and
age.
Uncle Lewis?
Oh,
So Aunt Bethany holds my sister's name is Bethany, and she had as a child a fake leopard coat like Aunt Bethany did, and we're like Aunt Bethany. So my sister was always like, "I'm not Aunt Bethany." So we cast my sister.
Okay.
She's the one. She's the one.
Okay, here's my idea for them. I think I would flip the characters. All right. So Aunt Bethany is very aloof and just not really there anymore, and you know, rapping the cat and and all.
singing the national anthem. or
Oh,
whatever.
Exactly. So I would flip, and I'm actually going to have Uncle Lewis be the aloof character, and have Aunt Bethany be the complainer, and I'm going to do Carol Burnett as the Aunt Bethany, but now as the complainer.
Mhm.
Older, genius comedian. And I'm going to bring Mel Brooks in for his final
Oh,
role
that'd be good.
All right.
as Uncle Lewis,
man.
now
He's
as
a
the
genius.
aloof
You can't call him.
genius. That's my idea. Mel Brooks and Carol Burnett
Excellent.
in those roles.
Interesting. That's an interesting take.
I think it would be hilarious, and maybe not instead of the national anthem, he's singing like "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" or something like something different. You know, maybe he's singing like Sabrina Carpenter or "Hot to Go" or. Any other ideas for anyone else now? Yeah, I was gonna say that was tough enough.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Man, that was Christmas Vacation. I really liked your studio take though,
Yeah.
because it's right. It's about
it's
about
kind of like what they would pick.
what they would pick
hedge
now.
hedge the bets.
Yeah, we're like, I think all of us were like, if we did it,
Yeah.
we want the best in that category, right? Thank you so much for coming in, Andrew.
Thank you for having me on.
being here.
It was
This
great.
was
Great.
excellent, and
And thanks for bringing a film here to West.
I think, yeah, absolutely. You know, the last thing I would ask of you is if you could speak to, you know, the people of Buffalo and, you know, just maybe future producers, you know, out there. What advice would you give them?
You know, I would tell, you know, producers, network studios, definitely give, you know, Buffalo a try. I know they're all looking for places to shoot, and, you know, I would bring a lot of things here, so I would recommend it 100%. And, you know, I think the people of Buffalo just stay the friendly neighbors. I mean, you know, keep having these films come here. Don't get taken advantage of, but still, you know, make it friendly to be here. And I know when a lot of films come in, things go crazy sometimes, and it almost kind of ruins the landscape. So it's a matter of trying to keep the storm, you know, keep the boat in a storm. So, you know, I'm having a great time. I think everybody around us is having a great time. So, you know, I'd recommend you 5 stars.
Awesome.
well, thank you for coming. Thank you for bringing a film here, like you said before. And when you come back, because I'm going to say that you're coming back, we would love to have you again on and
Great.
talk
I'd love to
more.
be on.
So awesome. Thank you guys. That was Podcasting Buffalo. That's a wrap.